So I have this email from Mike. Mike is a longtime listener of the podcast, and he has been in touch with us in the past, and he took a boot camp crash course that I did here in LA, and I did some tutoring with him, and I would say he worked exceptionally hard at the LSAT, and then he had a kind of disaster. So let me just read his email. Nathan and Ben, first, let me say thank you for the podcast. I've gone through every episode twice and have found your chats to be more influential on my test-taking approach than any paid resource.
Wow.
Yeah, thanks. On the June LSAT, I had a total catastrophe. This was my first attempt, and I felt very prepared, having completed 35 full practice tests with an average score of 168 and a goal of 170. I had given it my all and followed a solid routine leading up to the exam: diet, exercise, relaxation, and meditation. Unfortunately, when my head hit the pillow on June 5th, anxiety struck. I've grappled with chronic anxiety and depression for the entirety of my adult life, but this was totally unexpected. I ended up going to the test with 0 sleep and a body full of NyQuil as a last-ditch effort to get a few hours sleep before the late noon June exam. So, I got emails from Mike, like at 2 a.m. on that Sunday night, the day before the test, asking what he should do, because he had tried to go to bed. He is following his whole routine. He's trying to get some sleep, and he realizes 2 a.m. he can't sleep. So now he's frantically trying to figure out what to do. He was emailing me like, should I withdraw? What should I do?
Wow.
Of course, it's too late to withdraw at 2 a.m. You can only cancel at that point. And I knew how well prepared he was, so I advised him to just, relax and try to get, I happened to check my email at 2 a.m. And so I fired him back an email like, hey, this is a bummer, but I think you need to probably just get as much rest as you can between now and then. Go, I know you're fully prepared, so go take the test. Well, turns out he couldn't get any sleep and slammed down some NyQuil and then ended up going to take the test. So he goes to the test. This is kind of funny. When I got to the test center, I felt a strange sense of calm. I saw everyone panicking over their picture not meeting LSAC requirements, not having a pencil, needing to use the restroom, etc. I thought to myself, this is just a practice run. I'm fine to cancel. And cancel I did. I left at the break. Reading the questions had felt like reading a foreign language. I've studied the LSAT after a couple drinks before, and this particular exam felt like I had just finished a line of shots before opening the test booklet.
I don't know what to say. I mean, maybe that was the right thing to do if he felt like he wasn't even understanding it.
So, yeah, he ended up going into the test with 0 sleep and with, NyQuil, which is some serious stuff. So he had no idea what he was doing, so he canceled. I mean, it's a bummer, but it doesn't seem like there's anything he could do if he, if the words on the page are like swimming around and it looks like you're not even reading English anymore, then obviously you're not getting an awesome score. So, yeah, it doesn't sound like the cancel decision was that horrible of a decision in this case. All right. I have some other things I want to say about Mike because he's super earnest, and I feel his pain here. I guess I want to talk a little bit about the sleep thing, and I want to say that Mike might have been over-prepared, which I don't normally think is even a thing, right? We don't usually agree when people say, oh, I'm overthinking it, or I'm over-preparing, or I'm trying too hard. We usually don't say those are even possible. But Mike did some things that were like above and beyond what most people would consider. I think he might have become like a little bit unhealthily obsessed with the test.
Okay.
For example, listening to every single episode of the Thinking LSAT podcast twice. I'm flattered, but it's just like, can what we have to say possibly be that useful that you need to listen to the entire thing two times?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, 35 practice tests, 35 full practice tests. That's a
Yeah.
lot. That's a
Yeah.
lot. Like,
Yeah.
that's fully prepared.
Yeah.
I mean, that is plenty. So that's fine. He did. He did. Here's the thing. He did. This is not in the email, but he went to the testing center the day before,
Mm-hmm.
or the day before, or 2 days before. He went to the testing center and got into the room somehow and did a full practice test.
Wow.
It's just, I don't know. I think when you build these things up to be so important, when it becomes the full focus of your life, like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, the other thing he did was he took some time off of work
Okay.
and
Yeah.
and was like studying full time.
Yeah.
And I don't usually advise people do that.
Well, yeah, my recommendation against that is that most people who do don't end up actually studying any more than someone who's working, oddly enough.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like a wasted opportunity.
And then even when you do, I
Yeah.
just feel like you have to see outside the test, you have to see like the broader picture of what's going on in the world and
Mm-hmm.
your life. It's so easy to decide that this is the be all end all, like this is going to determine my entire future. And then
Yeah.
I think it can lead to more anxiety in the actual moment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Especially because this was only his first attempt. Like, he had 3 chances at it.
Yeah.
But he was like so focused on June 6th that, he went fully balls out on his prep.
Mm-hmm.
And then ends up having a panic attack because he made it, he built it up so much.
Yeah. And I think because he said he followed a solid routine, diet, exercise, relaxation, and meditation, I think those are all good things. But it's very possible that he had the belief that he had to do those things or else. And so then when he was having trouble sleeping, it became a much bigger deal than it was, which then just feeds that perception, making it even worse.
Yeah, I think that's totally possible. Also, if he's seeing his diet, exercise, relaxation, and meditation regime as all part of his broader LSAT prep,
Mm-hmm.
then now he is allowing the LSAT to consume his entire being.
Mm-hmm.
He's making June 6th even more stressful because he's decided that his whole life is focused on the LSAT.
Yeah.
Every moment of my life, like all this work I've been putting in. Oh boy, and June 6th now is the most important day of my life. And I don't think that's how it should feel. I think it should feel like, I've done a million practice tests. I'm fully prepared. I know what this test is about. My practice test scores are good. I'm happy with where I'm scoring. All I have to do now is go do this again.
Mm-hmm.
And it shouldn't be like, this is my one shot. Today is the culmination of my entire preparation process.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It should feel like, it's another practice test.
Yeah.
No big deal. I'm ready for this thing. Oh, what? I didn't get so much sleep last night? Whatever. That happened to me a couple times on a couple of my practice tests. I did fine anyway. Who cares?
Yeah.
Certainly not criticizing Mike for his commitment to the test, because it's awesome that people, want to change their lives, and the LSAT's a good way to do that. But I don't know, when you build it up so much, you end up, I think, maybe compounding some of the anxiety.
Yeah, I think if you go into the test expecting things to be not perfect, I guess,
Yeah.
or to run into challenges, I think that's actually probably a good expectation, and that should go before too, like the night before. Kind of expect that you probably won't sleep very well, and then when you sleep better than you expected, things are good, rather than, I have to sleep. I have to get. I've heard people say it too, like I got to get to bed at 9 o'clock, or I've got to get to bed at 10 o'clock, and oh no, it's already 10:30, and I'm still like getting stuff ready. That's just hoping for a dream. I think you just have to expect it to be kind of a restless night, and then when it's not, for most people, they'll be like, "Oh, this is actually better than I expected," and now things are
Yeah.
going in the right direction as opposed to going in the wrong direction because you need it to be perfect. Otherwise, it's just gonna be a bomb.
Yeah, you need to like embrace the randomness, right? Embrace the sort of bell curve, and just understand that there's going to be good things and there's going to be bad things, and it's going to be just imperfect part of
Hmm.
life instead of this, like, you've got it's like people building up their wedding day so much, and then just
Hmm.
turning into complete insane people
Yeah,
as the wedding approaches, because it's like it has to be, no, you don't understand, it has to be perfect. This is going to be a
yeah.
perfect day, the best day of my life.
Where's Uncle Sam? He's not here today. He's not on time. Oh, he's on the highway.
Yeah. Oh, it's ruined. It's like it's all or nothing kind of, it's either perfect or it's totally fucked.